Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mallory and I am an American military wife living in Germany. As you can see, if you've been checking my channel, I've been kind of MIA around here. So a few months ago, I went back to the States for actually some infertility treatment. My husband and I have been struggling with infertility for almost 2 years, and I went back to the States to have a surgery to look for a disease called endometriosis. And this unfortunately affects a lot of women. 1 in 10 women struggle with this disease. Mine was a little more silent. I didn't have a lot of the typical symptoms of endometriosis, but the doctor I've been working with to address the underlying cause of not being able to get pregnant wanted to check me for it because it can cause infertility. And what do you know? I had it and it got removed. And as you can see from the title, I am pregnant now. I had the surgery on March 1st, 2019, and I found out that I was pregnant on April 27th. 2019. So it was less than 2 months, only the second cycle since my surgery. I did not expect that to happen. I didn't want to get my hopes up too much, but it happened and we're so thrilled. This is the first time I've ever been pregnant, and so I'm just taking things one day at a time. I have done a lot of research up until this point because I've just loved the topic of babies and pregnancy and all of that. So I do have a little bit of book knowledge under my belt, but as far as practical knowledge goes, this is my first rodeo. So before we get into more of this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I know that this is going to be different from any of my videos, but it does have to do with life in Germany. Military spouses, I'm talking to you because a lot of you may either come here pregnant or may get pregnant while you're here, and I'm sure that you are curious, what is prenatal care like in Germany? So I'm not really sure if I'm going to do a pregnancy update every single week, but I did have my first prenatal appointment this past week and it's fresh on my mind, so I wanted to address that today. All right, so the day I'm recording this, I am 5 weeks pregnant, so it's still very early. I don't know exactly when I'll put this up, but I want to talk about week 4, and that's when I had my first prenatal appointment. So how I found the doctor is a friend, my best friend here in Germany. She had this doctor. It's a male doctor. I don't have an issue with like male versus female. I mean, as long as they're a good doctor, I don't care what gender they are. And so she recommended this doctor, and I was able to get an appointment within about a week of finding out that I was pregnant. So he saw me, I was about 4 weeks and 5 days, I think. So that's really early. I know that a lot of people don't typically get seen until they're like 8-10 weeks along. I don't know. But I do want to preface all of this by saying that I am on Tricare Select. And so if you're a military spouse, you probably know that there's Tricare Prime and there's Tricare Select. With Prime, you have to go through the clinic on your base to get authorization to see a doctor on the economy. Here at Wiesbaden, they do no OB care on base. So you have to get a referral and authorization from your primary care practitioner. Also, if you're on Prime, you have to go to the clinic first to get a blood test to confirm that you actually are pregnant. They won't just go off of a home pregnancy test. The nice thing with Prime is that everything's completely covered. You don't have any co-pays. You don't have to worry about all that. The downside is that you do have to go through the system and get the authorization. On the other hand, with Tricare Select, the upside for that is that it's more like a PPO. So you can choose your own doctor. Your PCP on base has nothing to do with any of your care off base. You just choose your doctor. Of course, you want to make sure that your doctor is in network with Tricare, and pretty much all the OBs around here are, so that's not an issue. However, the downside, I guess it's a little bit of a downside with Tricare Select overseas, okay, is that if you have Select overseas, more than likely you will have to pay the amount up front to the doctor or the pharmacy or the hospital. Then you can submit that invoice or the bill to Tricare, and I believe you can do it online. I haven't done it yet. But you can submit that bill or invoice to Tricare and they will reimburse you whatever you're owed. With Select, like if you were in the States, you have to meet your $150 deductible, which is so cheap. You have to meet that $150 deductible, and then I believe it's 20% copay, so that's your responsibility, and then Tricare pays 80%. There's also a $1,000 catastrophic cap. So if you're in the States, you don't have to worry about paying 100% up front, but if you're in Germany, you do have to do that. Some people might not want or be able to afford that, but I was on, just some background, I was on Select when we came here. Then I wanted to get some care on base, and they only see you on base if you're Select space available. So you just have to like wait, and if they have a space available, they'll take you. So I wanted to get like an eye exam and have a PCP on base and didn't want to go on the economy. So I switched to Prime. And this was at the time, this was in 2018, where you could change at any time for any reason. Now you can only change in enrollment period, which I believe is at the end of the year, or when you have like a life event, like having a baby. So I switched to Prime. And then when I was starting to do these infertility workups, blood work, trying to get a prescription for bioidentical hormones, I know that YouTube has restrictions on talking about drug names, so I won't say the hormone, but it starts with a P and it's the progestation hormone. You can Google that. It's pretty obvious. I won't go into the whole story. It's too long to explain here. It's kind of a rabbit hole. But I switched back to Select before the end of the year so that I could go back to Texas in February, March and have these diagnostic workups with my doctor who happened to be in network with Tricare. I saw a naprotechnology OBGYN, also a surgeon. Naprotechnology stands for Natural Procreative Technology, and it's a way to find the underlying cause of infertility and to treat the root cause instead of circumventing it. So I'm very happy with Select. I don't like dealing with authorizations and getting approvals. I like to go to the doctor that I want to go to, and I think in a way it's also easier for the doctors too. So, all right. So let's get into my first prenatal appointment. So I made the appointment, and actually the Tricare office lady made it for me. She was able to call and like get me scheduled, so that was really nice. So they will do that for you even if you're on Select. And also they have patient liaisons who can speak the native language and can go with you to appointments, like if the doctor doesn't speak good English or doesn't speak English well. Come on, Mallory. But this doctor that I chose, he is fluent in 3 languages, German, English, and Spanish. Really smart guy. And so I went to the appointment. It was in downtown Wiesbaden, and went up to the place. I was like 3 minutes late. I felt so bad, but they were great. I filled out a form, and it was a form that looked like it was specifically for Americans because it was in English, and it asked you both like your APO and your German address. So that was nice. Handed that paper back, and I didn't have to wait very long. And the doctor himself called me back to the exam room. I was really impressed by that because in the US, the nurse is always the person that does that, or the tech or whoever. I mean, I'm a nurse myself, so, you know, I'm very proud of the job that we do, but it was just unusual for the doctor to come and say, you know, Mrs. Well, he mispronounced my name, Major. That's very common. The Y, I guess, is kind of like a J sound in German. So, and he asked me, is that Major or Mayor? I said, it's Mayor, but that's okay. So he took me back to his office, and it really is his office / exam room. So he had this large desk with a computer and 2 chairs in front of it. And my husband was supposed to join me, but he got tied up at work. So we sat down. He had his little, it was kind of like a card almost, like a little mini record book. And so he looked at the paper I'd filled out and just asked me a few questions, if I had any allergies to medications, just basic questions. And he was like, so you're pregnant, right? And I said, yeah, my first one. And he was so excited for me. And I told him about my surgery for endometriosis. And he said, oh, well, the surgery must have worked. I said, yeah, it did. It was amazing. So yeah, just some questions, just basic questions. He explained what we were going to do in that appointment. And then I got undressed from the waist down like you normally do. I have heard that some OBGYNs in Germany I don't want to say they don't care about modesty, but it's just, they don't give you a robe or a blanket or anything to cover yourself when you disrobe. And I asked my friend about that. I was like, do I need to bring my own robe? And she's like, no. He has robes, he has gowns. So that was nice. So there was like a little curtain. I went behind and I changed, put on the gown. He asked if I wanted an assistant in the room for doing, he was going to do a pap smear because I hadn't had one in like 2 years. And then an internal ultrasound. So he asked, do you want somebody else in here? I was like, yeah, that'd be great. So one of the nurses came in and assisted with the pap smear. That's pretty standard, I think, at your first prenatal, especially if you haven't had one in at least a year. So he did that and then did the internal ultrasound because, of course, I'm really early, and so a transabdominal one will not show anything. And I had plenty of internal ultrasounds with my NAPRO doctor because we were checking for ovulation. So I was super familiar with how that works. But it was so exciting, and I'll put a little video that I took up on the screen. I'm so glad that he let me take a video. I know that not every doctor or tech lets you do that. But it was so exciting seeing our baby on the screen. I mean, it's just super tiny. You know, the 4th week, the baby is only the size of like a poppy seed or a chia seed. And I'll also put a picture in there of me holding a chia seed just in my palm. It's so tiny, but there's so many things that are happening. The growth rate is just incredible at this point. And so it was so reassuring. I was almost like crying a little bit seeing the tiny dot on the screen. And it was just so great. I was so thrilled, and it really gave me peace of mind because as excited as I am about being pregnant, the fear with pregnancy after infertility is real. You've worked so hard to get to this point. You know, you've sacrificed so much time going to doctor's appointments. You know, I went under surgery to find out what was wrong. The surgery was minimally invasive, but it's still a surgery. And, you know, you work so hard to get to this point, and then miraculously you're pregnant. And honestly, I was prepared, and, you know, I'm a woman of faith, and I was prepared that God was going to have us wait longer. And I was coming to terms with that, actually. I'll share in the comments below, in the description box below, I actually started 2 infertility initiatives. I started a blog series on my blog that I've already had of stories of people who have used NAPRO technology or other restorative forms of reproductive medicine to address their infertility. So I recently started that series, so I have quite a few posts up on the blog already. And then I also just started a podcast. Actually, the day I'm filming this, my podcast was approved on iTunes today. So I was becoming at peace with, you know what, I had the surgery, I know the endo is gone, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to get pregnant right away. My doctor did say it could happen within 1 to 2 cycles, but I didn't really want to believe him because I thought that was very optimistic, but it did. It happened. So we're just thrilled. Anyway, but the fear is real. The fear that you're going to lose this precious life that you worked and prayed so hard to get, to receive. So yeah, the fear is real, and I still struggle with that a little bit day to day. With every week that goes on, I feel a little more confident that, you know, it's gonna stick. But you know, I know it is early. I know that anything can happen, and I'm just trying to cherish every day with our little baby. So it's just such a wonderful gift. All right, so he did the ultrasound. It was like less than 5 minutes, and then I put my bottoms back on, and then we did a breast exam. He said that's standard in Germany. You do it every year with your OBGYN. And then I got fully dressed again, and then we sat back down at his desk and discussed things. You know, he told me the basics of, you know, eating healthy, what to avoid. Basically, he just said to avoid raw meats and unpasteurized cheeses and dairy products. The funny thing is that he didn't say to not drink alcohol. Which in America, that's like a very standard, like, don't drink alcohol when you're pregnant ever. But I don't know, maybe in Europe it's a little different, or maybe omitting it doesn't mean it's okay. I barely drink anyway, like almost nothing, so it's not a problem for me, but I just thought that was really interesting. So I am on a prenatal. I've been on a prenatal for actually like a month before getting pregnant. Before that, I was taking like a whole food type multivitamin, but I recently switched to a prenatal because it had iron in it. And so I get that from the UK, very high quality. The company is called BioCare, so I'll put that in the link below. I take the methyl pregnancy one. Actually, it's right here. The methyl pregnancy multi-nutrient. So I really like it. I tolerate it well. I'm on a bunch of other supplements too, but I won't get into that. Then I also had a blood drawn and a urine test. And so the urine test was like testing for infections. The blood test was just like standard CBC, all of that. And then I assume they're going to test HCG as well. And then I also asked if I could have my vitamin D checked, because I have a genetic polymorphism that people also call it mutation, whatever, but the technical name is polymorphism, that reduces the ability to convert vitamin D from the sun. So I historically have had a lower level of vitamin D, so I've been on a vitamin D supplement. So I want to make sure that I'm at a good level, that I'm not too high or too low. So that's important for baby development. The other thing, and I'm so thankful to this doctor, I'm just like a huge fan of his already. My NAPRO technology doctor, he has had me on that bioidentical hormone that starts with a P for several months, because it was to treat PMS and a luteal phase defect. And a luteal phase defect is basically where either you don't have enough of the hormone progesterone after you ovulate, or your level is dropping too soon. So my level was dropping too soon, so he had to supplement with the bioidentical thing, which I was taking it in injection form. So in pregnancy, my NAPRO doctor likes to do suppositories for the first 12 weeks of pregnancy of this bioidentical hormone, and then switch back to injections after 12 weeks if necessary. And the reason you give this during pregnancy is because this is the progestation hormone, and it supports pregnancy. This is not something that's standard taught in medical school for OBGYNs, but I don't know if it's different in Germany, because when I mentioned it to my OB here, he was totally open to it, didn't bat an eyelash. He said, yeah, we can do that, no problem. I wrote you a prescription. And he did. So he said, yeah, there's definitely benefits to it. You may need it, you may not, but it doesn't hurt anything. And so I was so grateful to him for doing that for me. So I did get a prescription, and my first prescription from the Apotheca, and also an anti-nausea medication, just in case I need it for morning sickness. I really hope I don't. My mom's wasn't super bad, so I just wanted to have it on hand, like if we're traveling or something and I feel just awful, and just take it in that circumstance, maybe. So then I did that yesterday. I went to the Apotheca and got my prescription, and Yeah, so I'm waiting on a bill from the office, the doctor's office, so they send it to me. I did have to pay for the prescriptions up front at the apotheca, but again, you can submit that to Tricare if you're on Select, and you will get your reimbursement of whatever that 80% is. All right, so this video is going to be a little longer just because I'm explaining all this new stuff about pregnancy and whatever. Oh, if you guys haven't seen, this is one of the things that we use to announce to our family and friends that I'm pregnant. I prayed for this child and the Lord granted my requests. That's from the book of 1 Samuel, I believe. And as you can see, my due date is in January 2020. So in early January. So let's just talk about some like pregnancy statistics. So my starting weight at the beginning of this pregnancy is 112 pounds. So this is all for week 4. So I'll do, I'm starting week 5, but this is about week 4. And then my belly circumference was about 32.5 inches. I'm already very bloated. I know it's not from the baby, but it's just like that hormone bloat, I guess. My stomach was pretty flat before getting pregnant, so this is definitely a change, but I don't feel bad about it because I know it's because I'm pregnant. So that's my starting belly circumference in week 4. Like I mentioned before, baby size is the size of a poppy seed or a chia seed. I get that from a few apps. My favorite apps so far are the Ovia pregnancy app, the Bump app, and then the What to Expect app. I mostly use What to Expect for the forums. It's just kind of fun to go in there and chat with other pregnant ladies. The Ovia app I use for tracking my symptoms, what I eat, how much water I drink, my mood, exercise, all of that stuff. And then I'll write notes to myself of just detailing more how I feel. So my symptoms the first week of pregnancy, well, for week 4, I found out that I was pregnant in week 3, so that's really early. It was before my missed period. It was like turned immediately positive, almost immediately positive, and it was just like the most shocking, amazing feeling ever because I've never seen a positive pregnancy test of my own, and I almost didn't believe it. And I actually ended up taking 6 more, a total of 7 pregnancy tests, a few different brands. Again, that fear, that post-infertility pregnancy fear, that's real. So symptoms have really varied this past week. I started out feeling ravenously hungry, and I just wanted to eat everything in sight. And really more my I don't want to say I've had actual cravings, but I just want salty things. I want savory things. And I'm really not in the mood for sweets. Like the other night, I had this coconut milk ice cream, this vanilla, and I think I put some blueberry, or no, I was having like these little chocolate gluten-free cookies from Aldi. I just couldn't finish. It wasn't even that big of a bowl of ice cream, and I couldn't finish it because it just was too sweet. And so I'm really craving that salt, which is a good thing because the amniotic fluid that your baby will be living in is salt water. And so you need water and salt, good quality salt like Celtic or Himalayan salt to help build that. So this is not medical advice, but avoiding salt in pregnancy, real salt is not a good thing. Or the last few days of week 3 and then like the first part of week 4, I was just so hungry like this, and it would be quick. It would hit me really fast and I would just need to eat, and I would wake up hungry, and I wasn't having any nausea or queasiness. I did have a little bit of queasiness before I found out I was pregnant. It was really weird. And I just thought it was PMS. But then maybe like after a few days into week 4, I started having a little bit of just slight queasiness sometimes, but more of like a gaggy feeling, like you just have that gag reflex in the back of your throat, which I hate. I think growing up I had a vomiting phobia, and I still have like vestiges of that. So yeah, that gaggy feeling, especially if I would wait too long to eat, I would feel that way. And so I have been keeping a glass or bottle of water and a bag of gluten-free crackers at my bedside. So I really like the Char salty crackers. They taste like Ritz crackers. They're so good. And you can get them at Etika. So I keep those on my bedside, like in case I need to nibble on something before I get up. I haven't had to do that maybe like once or twice. What else? So yeah, those are my food cravings and aversions. Really no aversions. A few times my husband has heated up this chicken, like Mexican chicken dish from the commissary, like one of those healthy frozen food meals, and it like makes me want to gag. It seems like every day my symptoms are fluctuating. Like yesterday and the day before that, so 4 weeks and 5 and 6 days, I was so exhausted. Like yesterday, late afternoon, I was so tired, and I thought, I'm just going to take a quick like 30 to 60 minute nap. And I ended up sleeping for like 2.5 hours. My husband came home, I was out, and I still needed to go to the store to get dinner stuff. So today I am feeling a little more energetic, which of course worries me because I'm like, why am I feeling better? Does that mean I'm not pregnant anymore? I mean, you guys, the paranoia. I need to stop. And then also I was gonna do something new or different about this week that happened in relation to pregnancy. I mean, everything is new, so I'm not really gonna do that category this time. Just every day is kind of different. So yeah, just a lot of bloating, breast tenderness a little bit. What else? Some urinary like urgency. I haven't really had that the past few days, but I think it kind of depends on how much water you're drinking. I am doing a pretty good job at drinking water. The doctor said to try and drink at least 2 liters a day. So I have a water bottle that's 1 liter, and then I also like drink out of glasses with a straw too. Yeah, I'm really, really excited to bring you guys these pregnancy updates because I was kind of wondering, you know, kind of in this hiatus since, I guess it's been like since February or early March. I think it was late February when I last posted a video. I was kind of like wondering, okay, what direction is my YouTube gonna go? Because, you know, I was thinking, well, maybe I should start talking about infertility and what we're doing to address it. You know, I wanted to keep this, at least while we're here in Germany, like focused on Germany stuff. And at first I was like, well, pregnancy doesn't really have anything to do with Germany, but it does because I'm getting prenatal care in Germany. So if you're a pregnant mom and you're coming to Germany, or you're planning on becoming pregnant while you're here, I'm your gal. I mean, like I said at the beginning, this is super new for me. This is my first time around. I'm just here to share my experience. This is not medical advice. Consult your doctor for, you know, therapies and whatnot, remedies. But I'm just gonna be sharing. Oh, another thing is that, let me grab them. The times that I have felt queasy, ginger is really, really helps. So this is my go-to for when I feel that stomach ickiness or the gagginess. These are ginger drops from doTERRA. Full disclaimer, I am a wellness advocate with doTERRA. I'm not really like actively doing the business, but I do have a website where you can order stuff. I highly recommend these. It's organic cane sugar, organic brown rice syrup, ginger oil, and lemon oil. That's it. Each drop, it's just like a throat, it, you know, looks like a cough drop. Each one is only 4 grams of carbs. So it's really low sugar. And these work wonders. Peppermint, however, I drank peppermint tea the other night because that's safe in pregnancy. You know, it's supposed to be good for your stomach, right? It made me feel gaggy afterwards, and I think it's because it opens up it relaxes the esophageal sphincter and kind of like makes contents from your stomach come up. So I don't think I'm gonna be drinking peppermint tea anytime soon. That was not good. I had to have a ginger drop after that, and it took it away. So yay for no gaggy feelings. So yeah, I'll put my link to my doTERRA site in the description box if you guys are interested in trying these. I forget how much this was, but I ordered actually 2 bags before I knew I was pregnant in the hopes that I could use them for morning sickness. And then I just ordered 2 more. So I want to have a lot on hand. All right, so this video is long enough. I've really rambled, but if I can, I'd really like to do weekly pregnancy updates. especially if there's like interesting things. I have my next prenatal appointment in late May, and I'll be almost 8 weeks. So we should be able to hear the heartbeat by then. That'll be really, really exciting. I can't wait to do an update on that. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of these pregnancy updates. I will put them into a playlist so that down the road people can binge watch. I definitely have been doing that with other pregnancy update vlogs. So there you go. Thank you guys for your support, and I'm excited to have y'all on this journey with me. Please pray that everything goes smoothly, that it's a very boring pregnancy, that the little one, we're calling him or her our little flower. We will be finding out the gender as soon as we can, so I won't be able to wait for like 9 months. Anyway, it's gonna be a fun adventure together. So thank you guys for sticking with me, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.